the principles of creation. We will be looking at the principles that God used in the creation of all things, understanding the purpose for which He created everything, and that will include your own life. Remember, God created everything for a purpose, and not every purpose is known. And where purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. So we'll be looking at the purpose for which God created you and the reason why He created everything. So always join us. God bless you.
I've known you as a father, I've known you as a friend, and now.
Yes, okay, a very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are once again as usual with our lovely program. Yes, every Monday morning at a time like this, always be ready for everything that we are always saying. Yeah, Mucunguzi Jonan is my name, and today in the studios I am not alone. I have come with wonderful men of God to share with you something which I believe will change your life, and that today you will be blessed. On my left side is a man called Saith, and of course he will introduce much about himself. And then on my right is Mucunguzi Jonan. So that's how the program will be today, and we will be focusing on an issue, taking a look at what we have called youth advocacy for the continuity of African culture, norms, values, and Pan-Africanism. So probably, like I've already said, that being a Christian or being a part of the church, then you do not neglect issues that are of national importance. So since you are part of the nation, but also part of the kingdom of God, so you have to make sure that on both sides you really understand what always happens or what is always taking place. So today we are doing it a little bit differently, and we are taking a look at issues that affect us in our daily lives, mostly in the physical part. So for so long we have concentrated on the spiritual, and today we have deemed it necessary to take a look at what happens physically in our lives, and also discuss it, such that those of you who probably don't know what to do next, you should learn from everything that we are going to see. So let me allow these wonderful gentlemen to introduce themselves, and then we will concentrate on our topic, and I believe that you will be blessed. So you're welcome.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mucunguzi Jonan, and to our dear viewers. My name is Saith Bwerere. I'm the Executive Director, Ishaziritu Foundation Uganda. Bwerere comes to be my father's name that I treasure so much as part of culture, youth respect for our parents, because our parents are our godly, earthly godly parents. So
Yes.
that's my name, and I'm so privileged and happy to be here.
Yeah, you're also welcome.
Thank you, Evangelist Mucunguzi Jonan. By name is Mucunguzi Jonan, and I'm a writer, Christian writer. I write poems about gospel poems, and we base from Chirikadea. Thank you so much.
That's it. New Life Embassy is where we have come from, and that is the ministry that backs up this program as usual. So make sure that every Monday morning at a time like this, you're always ready to listen to everything that you're going to see. So right away, let us take a look probably at the topic that I have told you, looking at what is happening right now when we look at the culture crashing, where different cultures are crashing, and probably we don't know what to do, whether to take on the Western culture, whether to remain standing on our traditional values, or whether to embrace them both and they coexist with each other. So we are going to see what should probably happen, most especially to the godly youth, or to the Christian youth who desire to live godly in this present age. So what is the way forward in all of this that we are going through? So right now, let me allow my friend to briefly explain the topic, and for those who are viewing us.
Thank you, Jonan, once again. Before I explain the topic, I want to take a sincere appreciation to the Dream TV management for giving youth space to talk about issues of national importance. We have a say in the country, and if you don't give youth, women space to dialogue about issues of national importance, you're losing out knowledge from them.
Yeah.
So we thank you, Dream TV management, for the space accorded to the youth to dialogue about issues of national importance. Two, I represent all culture-loving youth, all Pan-Africanists, advocates for culture, because for a long time, culture has been clashing with religion.
Yeah.
But I think someone can live with culture and religion.
Yeah, it's possible.
I recalled when Jesus Christ met the Samaritan woman,
Yeah.
he introduced himself as a Jew.
Yeah.
Samaritan woman, kindly give me water. In other words, Jesus introduced himself in his own culture.
Yeah.
So if Jesus could accord himself in his culture version, why not you introduce yourself as a Musoga, but who is born again?
And probably we know him as a Jew.
As a Jew.
Yeah,
As
so,
Your culture will forever be your pride.
yes.
Culture has even brought to the development of the GDP of this country. We've seen culture tourism. And forever we shall be Africans. We are binded by that spirit of Ubuntu. Whether you're South African, whether you're Nigerian, whether you're Msoga, whether you're Mnyankore, you shall forever remain African. We just have different languages, but we do same things, eat same food, but you cannot change that African spirit. Two, the whites have brought in many things, which are good and bad. Now, in Uganda they call it akakunguta. Cleanse the bad things, let them remain on top and you throw them away, and the good things we consume them. For example, the good roads, the power we are using, the television, the network, those are good. But know that every bad thing they bring onto earth, we should consume it. For example, they were enforcing homosexuality on us.
Yeah.
Culture and religion condemn homosexuality. Let's not absorb that, because it is out of our domain.
Yeah.
But forever we shall be Africans and should forever embrace that. That's why we come in as the Shaziritu Foundation Uganda that advocates for cultural continuity. Parents should again embark on their role. A child initially belonged to the entire community, but today a child makes a mistake, even the parent goes to school and says, do not beat my child, and you spare the rod, spoil the child.
Yeah.
We should embark on our roles as parents, as stakeholders, to have a better generation that sees Uganda move forward, Africa move forward, Pan-Africanism prevailing in our country.
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, what you are saying is true. Culture plays a very big role in the development of the society. And like I've always told you that the law creates the culture, whatever the law allows to be normal in the society ends up becoming the culture of the people. So even when we are making laws, we must make sure that in the law, in the halls of power, the laws that we make must always be righteous. So the laws that we make in a nation must always be righteous, so that we produce a righteous culture. For example, when you make a law legally nationalizing abortion, then that means that you are creating a culture of murder. So people grow up knowing that killing is normal. So the question always remains, when does killing become killing? When you say that killing one in a womb is normal, and killing one outside the womb is criminal, so probably we become confused. So killing a person in one place is normal, killing a person in another is abnormal. So when we are making laws, we must make sure that the laws we make are always righteous. So that's what we are trying to talk about. Yeah.
And to supplement on that one, I think nowadays parents have neglected sex education of their parents. Their children.
Their children, yes.
Whereby some parents, they feel like as if it is like shaming,
Shameful, yeah.
it is shameful to tell their children that this one you are not supposed to do it. That you are not supposed to join bad groups. For example, like girls, parents in African traditional society, parents, especially aunts of the girls and their mothers, they could gather them there, especially in the evening time there. They tell them, they advise them, they tell them the way how you should associate with boys. But nowadays, parents have given a lot of permissiveness to their children, whereby girls, they end up joining with the bad groups, which end up...
Information?
Yes.
Actually, the girls that conceived mostly during the coronavirus
Yeah.
have been pregnanted by their relatives,
Yeah. You see.
cousin brothers, uncles, and that's why we see that the pregnancy rate in corona period,
It was high.
it was high because these children were at home, they were not at school.
And additionally, if you were to look back in those days, these actions of incest, they were very low. The rate was low. But nowadays, it has become normal, whereby it's normal. It's normal. Someone's uncle to sleep with his daughter there, no problem. It is acceptable. So you find that a lot of permissiveness, it has become a problem to some of the...
Yeah, what we mean is that yes, we are standing up for something, but probably we must be standing on something. So the values that we stand on, as we stand for these things that we stand for, always matters. So let's take a look at what we mean when we talk about culture of values and reviving the spirit of loving our nation and loving our continent at large.
which is Pan-Africanism.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Now, the spirit of Pan-Africanism, it was an idea that people of Africa originate and should be one, binded by that spirit of Ubuntu. This Pan-African spirit was brought about by a man called Dr. William Edward Dubos. He is the father of modern Pan-Africanism. This movement started in United States in the 18th, 16th centuries. He later died 50 years ago in Ghana. Now, when he brought about that spirit of Pan-Africanism, this is why we saw countries coming together in Africa to fight white domination, to come together and fight for independence. We saw Africans in South Africa. Was one of the last countries to get independence. But the spirit of Pan-Africanism was so much impactive on helping South Africa get independence. Now that spirit continued up to date. Of recent, a man in South Africa called Julius Malema was in court. He mentioned a word Ubuntu, and I heard it and I was like, wow, we are most of the same. Now, the Pan-African spirit has the African values that we stand for. There are things that Africans did do.
Yeah.
There are things that Africans were saying, no, we can't do with this. Now, whites coming in our country, they have, like I said, they brought nice things that we should absorb, because humanity must prevail. But there are those we should say no.
Which can spoil our...
Whether we depend on them in one way or the other. I like the president of recent. He refused the homosexuality bill. That was tremendous. That was good for him. Whether we depend on them on several things, whether we get money from them, whether we borrow from them, but actually that spirit of depending should really stop. And by the way, let me tell you, because of the Pan-African spirit, I'm not a prophet, but in 50 years from now, we shall see a United States of Africa.
That is too far. In like 20 years.
Because remember, East Africa was only 3 countries. We were added on by Burundi and Rwanda. Southern Sudan joined us. Now, Democratic Republic of Congo also joined us. If you look at the East African map, almost covers 40% of the entire African map. You will find some other countries joining us, and all of a sudden, you get a United States of Africa with the same currency, with the same language. The spirit of Pan-Africanism, the spirit of Ubuntu is coming. But we should not have the other perspective of religion out of us. No, God is our earthly king. Is the reason everything exists. Have God first, because He's the life, He's the protection that we have. So African norms and values should prevail, but we should find ways. Actually, our fathers in region should find a way of teaching people or their servants on how to live with culture norms and values, and also have region, them not colliding. I condemn someone who says, no, I want to introduce myself in my African name. For example, Nyesiga, and I put Saith in front. No, please. We shall forever be Africans. Bill Clinton introduces himself as Bill Clinton. Why don't I introduce myself as Nyesiga? Because I'm a Mnyankore and a proud one. And I cannot change that. So the African spirit of Ubuntu, Pan-Africanism is here. And it is prevailing. In South Africa, in Nigeria, in Uganda, it's here. But we should find a way of embracing it for a better culture, for development of the country, and to see the GDP increasing. Yeah,
probably what we are focused on is making sure that since the moral fabric of our society is being destroyed by whatever comes from the Western world, so we must make sure that the things we allow to be normal in our societies, that we allow our children to continuously do, and most especially what we absorb from the media, from the social media, it has to be regulated. So that's why we are focused on reinforcing the values that we had, the norms and the culture that we had as Africans. Besides that, we have to worship God, like we have already said.
True.
But since the spiritual cannot be alone, we have to add there the physical. So both sides must balance and make sure that we live effectively.
Actually, just a little bit. When you open Facebook and you want to post something, Facebook asks you, what is on your mind? So Facebook does not tell you to put a naked pic as your post. No. We can use Facebook to preach the gospel. We can use the Facebook or media to advertise your business. I've always been talking to freshers in Mubs, Makerere, and whatsoever. In our setting, we have what we call keeping a secret of your friend. If I've done a secret with my friend, maybe forced by the body, keep your secret with your friend. Why do you take a pic of that girl naked and then post it on media? She is a sister to you. Why do you have to do that? That's so shameful. To hell with that. We should stop that culture. That's not the African setting that we should have in our life. God forbid. Yeah.
So what do you say?
On top of that, I think it has been a problem with some of the Christians to follow African culture and at the same time follow their Christianity. So you find that when someone becomes, let's say, born again or any other Christian, he or she thinks that now Africanism is no longer needed. And that person is wrong, absolutely wrong. Because I think you being a Muganda, me being a Munyankore, this one being a Munyankore, a Muchiga, that is God's way of arrangement in creation. And there is no way how you can change that one. So we need to appreciate who we are.
Yeah, true.
If you are a Muganda, you are a Muganda, you are a Christian, which is okay. When you are talking about values, African values, it is a big thing. Whereby nowadays, African values, most of them have been neglected.
Yeah,
if
true.
you have to look at that. You find, for example, a girl at the campus has even just finished the campus, but that girl cannot even pin matoke. But if you have to go back in 80 years African traditional society, a girl of 12 years can peel for you, can mingle for you, kalo, eat. But here you take someone, you marry someone's daughter, you find the girl cannot even cook for you delicious food. So
they are using to KFC, and if they don't have money, they will starve.
Yeah, so I encourage parents for sure and aunts, uncles to go back to their roles which they used to.
Actually, I appreciate the Nabagirika of Uganda for the Chisakati.
Yeah.
I really recommend. I was at St. Juliana High School, Gayaza, and Chisakate was held at our school one day, and I've seen activities, and I was like, wow, how I wish this can be done in our kingdom. because we have lost our what our kingdom does. The spirit of our kingdom, the love for our culture, because we don't have parents that guide us through. But in Uganda, it has been consistent. Proud to you, Nabagereka. Thanks for the good work. Please continue. And others should borrow her movement. It should really prevail forever.
Yeah, that's what we say, that parents become responsible once again. I do not think that anyone will educate your children in morals and values of the society if you haven't done it by yourself. And children also, you most especially the youth, make sure that you repent of the evil things you are doing, the unnecessary habits, most of the habits that are reasonable, which you are always doing, most especially in dark corners of the night. Yeah, probably we might not mention them, but since if you know that there is a guilty feeling or a feeling of guilt within yourself, because of the habit that you always hide, then you must know that it's time to stop that, because eventually it destroys your life and not the life of any other. So now, in our concluding remarks, I will begin from here, and then you say something about all of this as we come closer to a conclusion.
Yeah, now people were asking Ishazirietu, what does it mean? What we are doing here, we are dialoguing about issues of national importance.
Yes.
So in the Ankore and African setting, you would see the fire gathering in the night.
Yeah.
Now that fire gathering, that's where they would tell the young children the do's and the don'ts of an African child.
Yeah.
That has ceased not to exist today.
It's no longer there.
Now, back in my mind, I said, can't we use this social media to bring in our old parents, to bring in our bishops, preach the gospel, instill the African spirit and norms and values of the African child using media? We are using the whites, what they have brought on in us, but fruitfully to instill things in our lives. So we are now making a year, and we have moved on fruitfully. Actually, they are watching, they are good followers. We thank you for the platform given. Yeah, how would we advocate for culture continuity if such platforms were not around? Dream TV could join us. We have a dialogue on the 25th of June at Hotel Africana under the theme Youth Participation in Modern Farming and Commercialized Agriculture as a pillar to increase household income and realization of socio-economic transformation. So if you would come in, we preach the gospel. Agriculture is our backbone. So if youths do not participate in agriculture, yet it's where income is coming from, then we shall not have a developed country. So thank you so much, Dream TV, for the opportunity given. Aluta continua, we shall forever be appreciative. Yeah, thank you so much.
Conclusively, I appreciate the Dream TV management for the platform given. As we have been looking at the African values, norms, and African Pan-Africanism. I conclusively say it is still required for us to continue with Africanist and Africanism, because there is no way how you can change that one. There is a proverb in Kiswahili, it says, asiyefunzwa na mamaye hufunzwa na ulimwengu.
You have to interpret.
Which means that he who is not taught, or he who is not disciplined by his or her mother, is disciplined by the world. And you know the world, the way how it disciplines in a tough way.
Yeah, true.
So if you don't advise your children, if you don't go back to your roles, children are going to get spoiled. Don't say, they are at school, they get discipline from there. No, you as a parent, you own your child, so you have to play your role.
Actually, parents should really embark on their roles. They are the reasons, because most of the time, children have spent them at school, 70% of the time, even when we are home, we are with our smartphones. So we have not gotten time for guidance from our parents. Parents, please embark on your roles.
So I remain Mucunguzi Jonan strategy. In my penmanship, I'm a writer. They nicknamed me Strategy. Because I used to write poems, and I'm still writing Christian poetry. Thank you so much.
What is Jonan's nickname?
Probably don't have a nickname.
So far,
I
but
am
it's
still-
coming soon. It's impending.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah.
impending.
It might be heavier.
Mine is Munywan Sanganda.
Munywan
So you
Sanganda.
can explain for us.
Munywan Sanganda is you bring people together and then they become friends. Someone gives another cow because you joined them together.
Come and
Friends of
yeah.
friends. So they can come together because of you. So that's the Munywan Sanganda one. I'm glad it is African, not whitish.
Yeah, you will also soon get a nickname. Which
Shall I give you one?
On my own names. And probably that's how it will be.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want to say thank you, those of you who have spent your time listening to what we have been saying today. Every Monday morning, always be ready, and then next Monday, I think we'll resume with our Kingdom series. Those of you who have been following us, where we stopped is where we resume from. And I think that you probably will be blessed. Like we have said, those of you who we are wise have picked from what we have said, and I think that by now something must have happened to you, and a great difference we expect it to take place in your life. Like we have said, this was Seth Nyesiga Bwerere, Shazari Foundation Uganda is the executive director. Whether executive, it depends on where you studied from. So the accent that
This
depends
is a foreign language, never mind.
Yeah, whatever it is. Now this was Jonan, and my name is Mucunguzi Jonan, New Life Embassy. Next Monday morning we meet once again, and always remember on Saturday at midnight, Impact FM, always tune in for whatever you miss in our every program. I will always be there, also serving you the message. So we meet next Monday morning. Bye bye. May God bless you.
'Cause all my life
Yeah, this is Mucunguzi Jonan from New Life